Flying is honestly something that isn't on a lot of people's minds right now due to the restrictions in the world, as it were. But when the world opens back up, people are going to be all but racing to the airports to fly to just about anywhere that isn't where they've been stuck the last year almost. However, while the desire to be free is nice, you really need to be careful about the airports you go to, else you might find yourself in some serious trouble. Allow us to show you 9 dangerous airports of the world. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 9. Hwangju I Rauskin Airport. Hwangju I Rauskin Airport, aka Sabah Airport, is one of the world's scariest airports. Located on the Dutch Caribbean island of Sabah, it's got a lot to be desired in terms of safety. For example, the runway is just 1,300 feet, making it one of the shortest commercial airports in the world. This tiny runway length means only the very best pilots have what it takes to safely land and take off from it. It may seem odd to think that a runway length is a critical factor in making an airport, but the longer the runway, the more buffer that pilots have to both land safely and make a smooth takeoff. It's not something to just be done haphazardly. But its short runway is not the only hazard would-be approaching pilots need to be aware of. The airport is surrounded by jagged terrain and a sharp left bank immediately before landing. There are other ways to go and get to Sabah, and you might want to research them if you feel the urge to go there. Number 8. Narsarsuaq Airport. One of 2 airports in Greenland capable of serving large airliners, Narsarsuaq Airport is located in Tunuliarfik Fjord on the country's southern tip. The airport was built in 1941 by the USA Ministry of Defense. Pilots must deal with strong winds, severe turbulence, and wind shear in a mountainous landscape, even on the calmest days of the year, before they get sight of the relatively short 6,000-foot runway. While the high wind in the fjords is a major challenge for pilots, a nearby volcano can be even more of a headache. When it erupts, its volcanic ash cloud contains very small particles of glass, silica from melting ice, that can damage aircraft engines. It's very rare that you hear of a plane having to deal with a volcano, but with this airport, it's a definite possibility. Number 7. Princess Juliana Airport. The notorious Princess Juliana Airport on the Caribbean island of St. Martin is famous around the world for its low landings over the ocean, owing to one end of its single 7,546-foot-long runway being extremely close to the shore. Which is another thing you don't usually expect from an airport for a variety of reasons. The landing jets appear to be just feet above the heads of the public just before touchdown, while takeoff creates huge gusts of wind and sand for sunbathers nearby. It's not without danger though. In 2017, a New Zealand woman died from injuries sustained by jet blast from a departing aircraft. Sure, you might get a nice photo opportunity with this place, but you also risk getting hurt just by being near it. That's a risk many shouldn't want to take. Number 6. Congonhas International Airport. Congonhas International Airport in Sao Paulo, Brazil, is one of the world's most dangerous airports due to it being yet another airport with a short runway. It is also located in a heavily built-up portion of the enormous city. Why does that matter? Well, usually airports are kept on the outskirts of a city. That way, planes don't have to worry about hitting buildings. Here though, you'll be so close to the buildings you'll think you're inches away from hitting them. It has become famed for its risky runways that are often accused of being the slipperiest in the world, because its runway had not been constructed with proper grooves to drain away excess rainwater, leading to a buildup of standing water at times. Lest you think they're just being paranoid, there have been a number of crashes on said slippery runway that have resulted in many fatalities. One notable example occurred in 2007 when TAM Airlines' Airbus A320 overran runway 35L during moderate rain. The plane crashed into a nearby warehouse, killing all 187 people on board and 12 civilians on the ground. Number 5. Gibraltar National Airport. The runway at Gibraltar's airport crosses the main road in and out of the British Overseas Territory, and consequently, traffic has to be closed every time a plane lands or departs. The resulting traffic jams have led to the construction of a tunnel under the runway, but the project has been plagued by delays and is still not complete. However, the highway crossing isn't the main issue for pilots. It's the strong turbulence and wind shear around the Rock of Gibraltar and across the Bay of Algeciras that makes landing here a challenging affair and particularly uncomfortable. Diversions and go-arounds are common, especially in winter. This place just reeks of danger and frustration, doesn't it? Because once you land, you might be caught in a traffic jam. And who wants that? Exactly. Clearly, they should have planned things better when they made this airport. It would have saved them a lot of trouble. Number 4. Telluride Regional Airport. Telluride Regional Airport is located in southwest Colorado and is widely considered one of the scariest in the world. This is because it is one of the highest airports by elevation in America, at 9,070 feet. That's really high, and very atypical for an airport. It was built in the 1980s and boasted over 9,400 operations a year, at least before the current COVID-19 crisis. Located on a small plateau, it features 1,000-foot sheer cliffs at both ends of the runway, and pilots need to overcome strong vertical turbulence from the mountain winds during the winter months. Not only that, but each end of the runway is actually slightly higher than the middle, creating a dip, although this was reduced during a 2009 renovation. To be fair, it sounds scarier than it is. You do need to have a sound piloting mind to touch down, but it's honestly pretty safe overall, most of the time. Number 3. Wellington International Airport. Serving the capital of New Zealand, Wellington International Airport is the third busiest airport in the country, immediately making it a big place of business and potential danger. It features a single 6,827-foot runway that appears to start and end in the ocean. The airport has a reputation for sometimes rough and turbulent landings, even in larger aircraft due to the channeling effect of Cook Strait creating strong and gusty winds, especially in northwesterly conditions. Even one of these things could end up hurting the plane and its passengers, but multiple factors just make it all the more dangerous. Which is why passengers going through this airport are documented with tales of hair-raising landings that no doubt will make them think twice before coming back to this particular airport in New Zealand. And it makes you wonder, if this is what is going on at the third busiest airport, what about the top 2? Number 2. Svalbard Airport. Built on permafrost, Svalbard Airport not only seems scary, but is also an engineering marvel in its own right. Located in Norway's Arctic archipelago, the 8,000-foot runway is built directly on ice. Culverts under the runways allow water to run from the mountain. There are also no runway lights, so flights are only permitted during daylight. This might not seem like a big issue until you realize that in the winter, the sun does not really rise here. The airport was built on permafrost with the runway insulated against the ground so it will not melt during the summer. While its safety record is excellent, its location as one of the world's northernmost airports can make flights to it very challenging for pilots. Inclement weather and proximity to the Earth's magnetic North Pole can create visibility and navigational difficulties for even the best pilots. One of Norway's worst air accidents occurred at this airport in 1996. A Russian flight bound for Longyearbyen crashed into a mountain after being about 2 miles off of its approach center line, killing all 141 passengers on board. Number 1. Paro International Airport. Paro is Bhutan's sole international airport. The tiny airport is nestled in a deep valley and surrounded by sharp peaks of up to 18,000 feet tall. Strong winds whip through the valley, often resulting in severe turbulence. Considered the most dangerous airport in the world, flights are only allowed during daytime and under visual meteorological conditions, in which pilots make their judgments by eye rather than relying on aircraft instruments. As if that wasn't enough, the runway is completely out of sight for the pilots until the last minute, as they maneuver between mountains at a 45-degree angle before dropping quickly onto the runway. Only a limited number of pilots are authorized to land at Paro, which says a lot right there that you need to be authorized to even think about landing at this place. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various airports out there that are a bit too dangerous for many people's liking? Can you believe the conditions that pilots have to fly in at these airports? Which of them do you personally think are the most dangerous of the lot? Do you know of other airports that you feel are dangerous in one form or another? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.